So hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's feature I have with me the 2024 Suzuki Dzire GL Plus AGS. Actually, this was supposed to be my first ever lend out from Suzuki Auto Philippines, but instead I got the Celerio AGS. But still, I would like to thank them so much for making this lend out review possible. I've driven this too many times on my channel back at Suzuki Auto BGC. So having experienced this now for almost a week now, I've learned a lot more. Yes, this still may be an AGS, but this is no longer powered by a 1-liter 3-cylinder, aka the Espresso and the Celerio, as I mentioned. This Dzire is powered by a 1.2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine that produces 82 horsepower and 113 Newton meters of torque. So this is almost one of the most powerful cars you can buy in this segment. But being a Dzire 2, let's not forget, this is based on the Suzuki Swift. Well, the Suzuki Swift came first, but they converted this to a sedan, which in turn, this is now classified as a notchback. Same to like with the former Honda Brio Amaze model, which I was considering to as my first car. But for this Dzire, I think this, if not mistaken, this is the only one in this class, which too makes this unique. So you get halogen lights and fog lamps, surprisingly all round. You get the ground clearance of 145 millimeters, and the front fascia of this is exactly the same like what you get with the Suzuki Swift. And here on the side profile, it looks much different now than that of the Suzuki Swift, since you get a shorter rear and a more bulbous look now, since this now being a sedan. You get 15-inch wheels all around, but if you go for the super base model, the GA manual, which I want actually, that one's running on 14 inches and only steel wheels. So now here at the rear of the Suzuki Dzire GL Plus AGS, so this is what gives this a unique look in the first place. Since this now being a notchback, you got a much longer overhang compared with the Swift. Okay, I was not a big fan of this rear at all with this Dzire, but having lived with this for a couple of days now, I actually like this now, since this has a much plainer look than that of the Swift, since it's recognizable in its own way too. But being a sedan, and I'm a sedan boy myself, yeah, this Dzire will just do the job. One drawback though, since now being a notchback, yes, you may have a much larger boot space compared with the Swift, but you cannot carry taller items as the aforementioned vehicle. But still, this has a generous boot space of 378 liters, and I don't think you can fold the rear seats whatsoever, but you still can hold a lot of stuff in these boots, like from soaps to magazines here and there. And there's as well a space saver donut tire underneath this, which is pretty handy too. That's about it here with the rear of this Suzuki Dzire. Let's check out the interior. So this is the interior now of the Suzuki Dzire GL Plus AGS. So here in the door card, yes, there's numerous plastics here and there, but at least you get fabric soft touches here for your elbows, and here's your conventional window switches and electronic adjustments for all the side mirrors, and electronic folding too, which is pretty handy. And then visually overall in the interior, it's pretty much the same like what I've driven 2 years ago, but there's, I think, if not mistaken only, there's been some additions here. Remember, I just test drove this back in BGC. I didn't play in detail with everything. So you have a 7-inch infotainment system equipped with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Very good job with that, Suzuki. The Android Auto, everything is pretty clear. Just a slight delay, but still gets the job done. So there's no Apple test for today. Peace. So maybe in the future I can try this again. So here on the left side of the dashboard, you get, despite being top of the line model, there's a lot of black buttons, but you get a electronic stability control button. And for your parking sensors, one nitpick only personally, and maybe it's just my dumb self, I cannot find it here in the infotainment system. The parking sensor sound, wait, like so, it's too low for my liking. I'm not sure if you can adjust the volume here whatsoever, but that's just my observation only. So here again, like most Suzukis, you get a D-shaped steering wheel. Yes, it's polyurethane plastic, but still nice to the touch. I mean, I'm wearing gloves anyways. All of your buttons are only here on the left side for your volume controls, for adjusting the music, your mute button, and further down for your phone connectivity buttons, which I found pretty handy, as I mentioned too in the Suzuki Ertiga. And here are your bezels. You get an analog tachometer and speedometer with a little multi-information display right in the middle. And here further above in the dashboard, yes, again, it's all plastic, but there's this nice silver trim that stretches all the way to the right side of the passenger. Glove box, okay, pretty decent for a subcompact sedan. And then further down the infotainment system, you get your buttons for your power and volume, including your tuning knob, and more buttons here like for controlling stuff here in the infotainment system. And further down, you get your knobs for your air conditioning controls. And I will say, like with every other Suzuki, the air conditioning system here is one of the best out there. And way further down, you get a 12-volt socket, a USB port, an aux cord, a cubby space, and 2 cup holders which only fit small bottles and small water jugs. Here in the center, you have your gear shift. Yes, everything is gloss back, but you're not going to be touching that anyways. But still, you might have to clean some of it from here on then. And further behind, you get a extra space here, along too with a manual handbrake. And despite to being a top-of-the-line model, you get fabric seats all around this vehicle, including up to the rear. But there's this nice weaves and white patterns here, and the seats itself is pretty much comfortable. And I'm very used with this kind of seats since I had the daily, which had all fabric seats anyways. And above here, you have your halogen lights, including 2 microphones here for example, controlling Android Auto. Visor, you have a vanity mirror here on the passenger side, and you get a ticket clip holder. And remember, this car is fresh from autofocus, so there's like the ticket clip ticket holder here. And I found this here too on the dashboard on the first day, the autofocus test drive map here. I mean, it's such a cool that this car can go around the country and it holds it in one piece. And yeah, like most Suzukis, they still don't extend, sadly. So at the rear seats, it's all fabric once again, but the only one in its class, at least, that has 2 air conditioning vents right in the middle. And speaking of being only a subcompact sedan, you get a very good amount of space. So feet room, and I can stretch my body all the way forward, my head almost not hitting the front seat. And headroom is also, but I would say the headroom is just a little bit less than that of the Suzuki Swift. However, it's still good nevertheless. And the only one in this class too that has a central armrest with 2 cup holders. Again, very good with that Suzuki. And then here in the middle, you get a transmission tunnel, but it's not that wide. You can put your feet up. And door cards all around at the rear too, pretty much the same, but there's no more fabric soft touch points anymore. So yeah, that's about here in this interior of the Suzuki Dzire. Let's go for a drive once again. Now driving the Suzuki Dzire AGS. So let's talk about now the wonderful side of this, since I said this is a weird and wonderful car as judging the title by itself, since of the notchiness of this vehicle. Anyways, this Dzire AGS drives really well, actually too well for my liking. I wasn't expecting this kind of drive, since you all know me, I am not a fan of this AGS model. However, for this Dzire, even though there's a manual existing, but this actually works for this car. I'm not so sure if the AGS in this is better tuned than that of the Celerio and the Espresso, or maybe I just got used to these AGS systems already. That's why I find this quite easy to drive. The AGS may be a bit slow to react sometimes when left in automatic mode. However, to compensate with that, you have to gently press the throttle. Once you get up to speed, that's where you can fully floor it. Most of the time, I just left it in manual mode. Yes, somewhat you still have to make it act like you're driving a manual, since this is a semi-auto manual or automatic, give or take what it is. As I mentioned, the only downsides with this Dzire is its practicality and this AGS transmission. But everything else, this Dzire is actually a very fun car to drive. This Dzire is actually one of the best budget sedans I've actually driven. I'm very impressed. So here, just in second gear, right, and then just floor it, mash the throttle. So see, it took a while to react, but once you get going, wow, right, that's so heavy. Remember, you have 82 horsepower and 130 Newton meters, which is pretty decent for what this is. Remember, I think too, if not mistaken, this is one of the lightest sedans in this segment too, so making this a very fun and somewhat a very race car capable vehicle. This Dzire is overshadowed a lot by its fraternal twin, as I keep mentioning too, the Suzuki Swift. But once you get past the stigma, this Dzire is just as good. I mean, yes, I've tried out the manual Swift, so the Dzire manual will be much more or less the same, apart from the butt. Handling of this is one of its strongest points. There's just enough heft with the steering feel, and the rack of this, I mean, look at that, it's very quick. And here now, why leave it in manual mode? Shift down and then floor it. See? Look how peppy that is. I love it. I wasn't expecting to have this much fun with this Dzire AGS, comparing only with the Celerio and the Espresso. Espresso review coming soon too, by the way. Yet this is why I would happily pick the Dzire over the Espresso and the Celerio, because this has a way bigger engine, and the 4-cylinder, in my opinion, it's much smoother than that of the 3-cylinder engine. And like the Celerio, which I keep commending, it's one of the more comfortable cars I've ever driven. This Dzire is just a little bit stiffer than usual, but it's still no means an uncomfortable car. And the suspension of this is soft. I mean, not as soft as the Celerio, as I said, but overall in the sedan category, yeah, this is one of the more comfortable sedans I've tried out too. And yes, there may be a bit of body roll here and there, but it's not so bad. And what's not so bad too is the tire noise of this. Okay, here, I'll just go a bit faster. So around 50, 60 kilometers per hour. Yes, you may hear a bit going into the cabin, but the NVH of this is among one of the best too in this segment. Yes, at like the national speed 100 kilometers per hour and above, you may hear a lot of tire noise going into the cabin, but again, it's not of uncomfortable experience compared with the rest of the sedans out there. The NVH actually for me is so good. I think this is even better than its fraternal twin, the Suzuki Swift, because you don't have a large opening there anymore in the boot itself. So since this is a sedan, it's all shut. And again, they're a bit slow to react with the AGS, but once you get up to speed, and surprisingly, driving this, even though an automatic mode, it's not as jerky as I once thought. So again, maybe I'm used to this kind of transmissions already. And now for the trump card for the Suzuki Dzire, well, like all Suzukis out there, it's its fuel efficiency. So around in heavy Friday rush hour EDSA traffic, I manage around 8 to 9 kilometers per liter, which is still not bad. But the best one I've got was 13.6 kilometers per liter. That's insane for a 4-cylinder engine. And for the highway, it's even better. This can go as much as 23.4 kilometers per liter. And for the cost of all of these two, this top of the line GL Plus AGS model is at 819,000 pesos. I would say it's pretty much worth it, because yes, you only get fabric seats, it's not the full plush leather, but you get the amenities like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and here's all the safety bits I will show on the screen. And I found the heel hold control of this one of the most useful. So this Dzire AGS will be very much ideal for first time buyers out there.
Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned to John Agustin Scuderi's channel as well. Thanks again very much.
So hope you guys like and subscribe, and we will see you with more future car reviews. Bye bye.